Welcome back to CTV Morning Live. Joel Grise joining us from K3C Credit Counseling. We've got to get to phone lines. We've got to get to emails. Lots of questions just coming in. Our first question we're going to take is via email. And we are going to take a look up at the screen and see what the question is. Would it be better to increase our line of credit with a lower interest rate to pay off existing debt and then just pay off the line of credit? That's coming to us from Amy.
That's a great question. We tend to jump to that option right off the bat. You know, if we can only consolidate our debt, put everything on one, and really that's a great way to keep credit in good standings, but it does free up your credit card. So again, the consolidation where you put everything in one, where it keeps your credit cards accessible, is a good option if you fix the problem. If you cut your cards, or lower your, keep one card, lower your credit limit, and then you'd have the one payment, which is fine. The other thing you want to be concerned about is a lot of times it's just interest payments on a line of credit. So you want to ensure that when you're making your payments that it's not just interest payments, otherwise you're really not accomplishing much. Because it's very easy just to make your minimum payment, isn't it?
It can be.
Yeah, it's very easy just to do that. So it's if you can force yourself into more of a loan where you have 48 payments of so much and then you're done and you can't have the opportunity to re-borrow against it, that might not be a bad idea.
If you're someone who is disciplined with the way they use their credit cards but still maybe had a big purchase, like moved into a new home and then needed furniture, needed a couple of things, that you do it onto a bigger line of credit. I mean, even for people who are better off at handling their money, would that, well, you know, in a different case?
If you can keep your credit in good standings, I think that's always a good option, because if you're looking at a debt management program or a consumer proposal or personal bankruptcy, those types of things, they really, some have more effects on others, but they'll, at the end of the day, take away your credit cards and put you in a position where you won't have access to credit. We can help you with going through that transition. However, if you can keep your credit in good standings, it's never a bad idea.
To be able to do that.
If you don't rack up the other end. So it's...
All right, we're going to take a phone call. Jane is on the line. Good morning, Jane.
Good morning.
What's your question for Joel?
It's on behalf of my daughter. When she was younger, she got a credit card, took it to the max, stopped making payments on it, and now it's gone into collection.
Right.
That's the only bill that she has. It's $5,000. Is she eligible for credit counseling to try and pay that off?
Yes, she is, yes.
It's in collection already, though.
It doesn't matter if it's in collection or not. That becomes irrelevant. What we look at is generally for $5,000, she's going to have to pay that back. Right. With our debt management program, we can allow her to make monthly payments that might be more affordable, because at $5,000, we could probably get somebody in at $100 to $150 a month type thing.
And will that stop the interest from accumulating?
It'll stop the interest. It'll stop the phone calls. And it will get the debt away from the collection agency and back to the original creditor's hands.
And how long does it take before her credit rating comes out of being?
It'll be 2 years after she's done paying.
Okay.
So the quicker somebody completes their debt management program, so the faster you're done and they're completely open, every dollar above and beyond the payment plan, it all goes towards the debt.
Oh.
So it's really a good thing. So if there's extra money coming in, you put it towards it, and then it'll stay on her credit for 2 years after she's done. If she does it on her own, let's say that you say, here you go, daughter, here's $5,000, go pay it. That's going to remain on her credit file for an additional 6 years.
Oh, wow.
So coming through credit counseling will save her time on her credit report. So we'll not only help her repay the debt, but we'll help her rebuild as well.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Great. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
That I didn't know. You know, you think maybe, okay, let's find a way to be able to do it in one shot, but it will affect you long term.
Long term,
yeah.
Because everything stays there for 6 years. If you have bad credit and you pay it off, that little piece of bad credit will hang on to your credit report for 6 years. And so if you have an opportunity to get it done faster, because if somebody pays it within 2 years, let's say, it'll remain there for 2 years more if they're through our agency.
Another question coming to us, yes. I believe John is on the phone from Pembroke. Good morning, John.
Hey, John.
Good morning.
What's your question?
Well, I'm on a disability. Now, my credit, I haven't had anything against. I haven't made any payments to my bills in about 4 years, and I've got no calls now for about 3 years. my disability, it keeps me living below the poverty line. Now, my concern is that I just heard you just say it takes up to 6 years to clear that out.
That's right.
Well, once that's cleared out, how do you reestablish credit legally? Like, there's people out there, they're advertising vehicles leased, rebuild your credit, but I know they don't report on their monthly reports to the credit.
That's a great point. One of the better ways to rebuild credit is to use credit. That's the unfortunate part of it. And especially, John, if you're on a ODSP or something along those lines, there's not a lot of money left over generally at the end of the month to be able to afford to pay back any kind of credit. So that's where that's always the tricky part, because if you're on a disability, there's really nothing that creditors can do to sue you. They can't touch your money. It's you're pretty much judgment proof. So if you don't pay it, eventually it should come off your credit report. However, it may go to a collection agency, and then the collection agency will show up on your credit report. So it's a bit of a game. So the best way to rebuild credit would be to use a secured credit card. There's a few out there. So if you go on the internet or you look up secured cards, there's some options there for you, and they will put something positive on your credit report while you wait for the negative stuff to drop off eventually.
And also the best way, I mean, when you've got callers like John and like Jane, is to give you guys a call, because they can sit down with somebody within the office. You go through some of the different questions.
Well,
the best thing right now for all of those that are kind of on the brink of wanting to ask a question or being in a different scenario is to just come in and ask the questions.
Well, you raised a good point, because answering these questions with John and Jane and so forth, I know this much of the story, right? I know this much of the story, and I'm giving general advice or comments. But if you really want to know how things work, what are all of your options? Because we don't just talk about a debt management program. We will talk about all of your options, so that you really have a good idea of what it is that you can do. How much, like I said earlier, how much it costs and how much it affects your credit, and how we can help rebuild, and what's manageable within your budget as well. So these are all things that we look at, so that the client has a really clear understanding of what they can do and what makes sense and what doesn't. And there's never a cost to call. There's never a cost to come in to see us. There's no cost for the online assessments. To get a good assessment on what your options are, there's never a fee. There's no obligation. We're all very friendly. We'll take an appointment. We can do phone sessions. We can do face-to-face. I love the face-to-face because you get people in, and it's more intimate. You get a better sense of what's going on, and you can build a relationship that way. So really, there's nothing to lose.
No, you think you just check.
Yeah.
You listed it all up. Pleasure.
Hey, thanks so
Been fun
much.
doing the Ask the Experts. We are going to take a short commercial break. The information there on how to get a hold of K3C Credit Counseling has been on your screen. Check out their website. Check out their online assessment.